Good morning. So I've come over today. I'm finally going to put those fruit bushes into the ground. They'll get a better harvest from them. You know, they've got all our nutrients in the soil that they're going to benefit from. I've been putting it off for weeks now, but today is the day. I'm going to get that done. I'm also going to pot up my blueberries because they really need some ericaceous compost, added to them. And then I'm also going to give you a little, tour of the allotment because I don't think I've done one this year. And everything's in blossom, everything's growing really fast. So I just think it's the perfect time now to show you now. And then I'll show you another one in a month or two's time and then we'll see the progress. Right, let's get all that done. So the good thing about popping those blackberry and jostaberry bushes into the ground is, I got the containers back to put my blueberries in. So one thing about blueberries that you need to do is if you're going to be planting them into pots in the ground, you do need to be adding some ericaceous soil as well. Because I'm putting them in pots, I can control the acidity in them as well. So you need to buy yourself some ericaceous compost, like so. I've added some normal peat-free compost on the bottom. And then what I'll do is I'll just pot all these blueberries up using the rest of the ericaceous soil. And I'm also going to add some bloodfish and bone just to give them a good feed now as well. And hopefully we'll get a harvest of blueberries. Right, let's get this done. So what you want to do is you want to just get your ericaceous compost, fill it in. Now the acidity of this compost is quite high, so they love that. That's what you want for the fruit. It also retains a lot of moisture in the compost as well by using it. So we'll just pot it in. Now I'm going to have to remember to put the pots back in here so that I label them correctly because they fruit at different times. So I've bought a few different variations and I'm hoping that I'll get staggered harvest through the summer. Right, one done. Let's get the rest done. Do you know what? There's something good though about just potting up plants, knowing that you're giving them that extra bit of, feed and that they're going to thank you for it later on. I'm always checking the pots at the bottom as well. These haven't come on that much. They came as small plug plants in the autumn and I've just potted them on twice. But I'm just going to break some of the roots up and we'll give it a tiny extra bit of feed. But the ericaceous soil, they're going to love. But like I said, I must remember which ones are which. Some I've already had for about 2 or 3 years. So I'm just potting them up like this one here. I've had harvest off this one about 3 or 4 years now. And it gets smaller, I prune it back. But the only thing you need to do there is add some bloodfish and bone on the top. And all you do is give it a top dressing of ericaceous soil. So you don't have to take it all out and damage the root surface, and you just pop it in. And that ericaceous soil will be washed through. And I'm not sure what this variation was. It was a gift given to me by someone, and that's all I do with that one. Right, we're getting there. The good thing about it as well is that blueberries are so expensive in the shops. So like I said on my last video, if you haven't seen it, go back and watch. We really need to start thinking about growing things that are going to cost us a lot of money in the summer, and fruit can be one of them. So let's just make a little dip. Check the root ball for vine weevil. You don't want nothing in like that because they'll just eat away everything. But I've never had problems with blueberries, but I've checked a few of my pots today and there's some vine weevil there, so I'm going to have to sort that out later on. Right, and that's it. They're all ready for the summer. I'll use the rest of this up now, just to top these last couple of buckets up, and hopefully we'll get an amazing harvest of blueberries this year. So the varieties that I've gone for is, I've gone for this one's called a New Hanover. These are the early ones, so I should get an early crop of these. Obviously this one's a lot smaller, so I'll get that maybe next year or the year after. So these are my early ones, and then I've also got some mid-harvest then, and this one's called a mid-Blu-ray. And then I think I've got 2 of those. Yes, so I've got 2 of each. So these are the 2 mid-Blu-rays, and as you can see, these 2 are called Ozak Blue. So I've got 3, like I said, I've got 3 staggered times where I'll harvest. So I've got an early, a mid, and a late harvest of blueberries all through the summer. So that's the plan anyway. We'll see. Now I think it's the perfect time. It's a bit cooler in the day. And I've got these 2 trays of lettuce that are desperate to go out. I've got a nice Annalena and a nice iceberg lettuce that I think will be perfect in this bed. So I thought, let's pull it off now. The top. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. It's good that it's been covered over. Not many weed seeds in here at all. Got a little bit by there. That is an absolute perfect. Even the worms are coming to the surface. So I pop them back in. And you look at that. Perfect. So I figured because the sun goes around the back of the greenhouse, this does get some sun, but it's not direct sun, so that these lettuce will enjoy that, I think. So let's pop these in. There's something about black soil and some lovely lettuces through it. I'm not going to use all of these ones. These are the Annalena. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a few just through the middle, like so. Now these will be the next harvest, because obviously I'll be using the lettuces from in the mini polytunnel. But who knows? You can never ever know how it's going to go. I think I'm just going to put 8 in there, and I'm going to use these spare. I might pop them in the mini polytunnel. There you go. How beautiful does that look? How many have we got? 1, 2, 3. So we've got 5 lettuce, so that's perfect. So I think we'll just pop these in. The good thing about being a gardener is that don't over stress it and think, oh, it doesn't fit the pattern. And I know my allotment sometimes looks like there's a plan and everything's got its place, but that's not always the case. I'm still pulling up weeds, and just like everyone else, it's just the way it is. So just if you've got a gap, fill it with a lettuce. Doesn't matter. You're the one eating it and you're the one growing it. So use your allotment to your advantage rather than, making it just always look good. One job that you will want to be doing now as well is where your tree structure is, you want to be using your hand just to nick off the shoots going up the stem. I mean, you don't want anything growing on there, because this will turn into another branch. And what you want to be doing is focusing on the fruit and the top. So nick off. I've done all the rest. So nick these off. They'll come back, a few of them. Just take them off, because before long these will turn into branches. So do that now as well. Right, who fancies a nice little plot tour? Right, let's go from the top, shall we? So I've got a couple of weeds that's coming through this, the bed that has got the runner bean canes in. These are the hazel branches that were harvested, and I'm using them this year. They do tend to wrap around these better than the bamboo canes. So I'm hoping to have a good harvest off this year. I put a bit of carbide down here just to suppress some of the weeds that are coming through, but I'll give that a hoe over later on. All the beds are due now of water, but I'm waiting for the sun to go down a bit before I do that. So I've got some garlic in here, some elephant garlic, and also some red Russian garlic off Terry King, and there seems to be a ladybird there then as well. So yeah, thanks for that, Terry. And I've got some spring onions, and I've got some green garlic that I'm going to harvest now tomorrow to put in the stir fry. All the fruit bushes are in now, and they're looking amazing. I gotta be honest. I am going to make like a temporary frame across the top and have some bird netting on there. Tony O'Neill, he gave me some bird netting last week, and yeah, not that he needs it, mine. If you've seen his new bird cage, he's not going to need that stuff, so cheers for that, Tony. And in this bed I've got some collie and broccoli. The other half is empty at the moment. There's some kales to go in there next month. I also got an empty bed here that I'm still not sure what I want to put in there. I think it's going to be left for the swede and also the Cavallonero kale. The garlic is looking amazing. It won't be long now, a month or two, and this will all be harvested. There's about 6 different variations in there, all separated with a wire, so I know which ones are, so I can keep some bulbs for next year. And in this bed, all the strawberries now, they're all starting to flower outside as well. So I'm hoping I'll have a good harvest this year. We got some extra garlic in these buckets that I'm just seeing whether or not, you know, they'll come to anything anyway. Carrots that I overwintered, and I gotta be honest, they're ready for harvest now. I checked today. I'm going to take a few of them as well. So these onions are the ones that I overwintered. These are the winter onions. So these are the golden gourmet shallots. They're looking okay. They overwintered as well. Some are looking better than the others. And I also, like I said before, I had a bit of a gap, so I put some more garlic in here. These are also the red and the golden onions that overwintered. I must admit, they looked amazing inside the greenhouse all winter because they were having that shelter, but these ones have caught up outside. They were bashed to hell, but they've come back, you know, leaps and bounds, and they're even starting to bulb up now. In this bed is empty. It's ready for whatever I need to put in there. And inside here I've got my Savoy cabbages, my greyhound, and also some Brussels sprouts, red Brussels sprouts. Obviously they'll come higher so the cabbages underneath can carry on growing and the Brussels sprouts will take off, you know, so that's interplanting there that I'm using some space. This one here is the Filderkraut cabbage. It goes huge, hence why I've got, you know, almost 1/3 of the bed dedicated just for that one cabbage alone. And down here, as you've seen, the metal raised beds. All my blueberries now are here sheltered for a bit. The lettuces look amazing in this bed, but you'll come back tomorrow and the slugs have had half of my spec. I broke the rules here, I gotta be honest. I did break the rules. I added peas. These are my sugar snap peas, but I grew them in a bed with an allium. Now I know you're not supposed to do that, but I just wanted to use that space up, and they're only a second crop as well, so I'm not really worried about them, but I think they'll be okay. But these are my golden, I think these are actually the red sun, yeah. These are my red Sun Shallots. And then I've also got the sugar snap peas that I've put on a bit of a wire trellis. All it is 2 metal pins and some old, you know, sturdy mesh, and it'll grow up that lovely. So it's got a bit of space around it, so I don't think it'll bother with it that much. But, you know, if you add runner beans and things like that, they hate being grown with alliums, you know, onions, shallots, leeks and things. So we'll see how these get on. In here I've got some spring onions, some beetroot, and then a mixture of bits of lettuce and stuff. Inside the polytunnel, as you can see, the lettuce and the mustards and the rocket are looking amazing. Another harvest again today, and then I'm just gonna, in a month or two's time, when the chillies, the peppers and the dwarf tomato plants all come in, this will all be taken out then, they'll be used by then, and then I'll use the bed again for those. And in this heat, this will love it in this polytunnel. I've added these on to the sides, and I'll show you on a little bit of b-roll now of what I've used them for. It's basically, I just needed some airflow in here, but I didn't want the wind to blow the cover off. I have put these on to stop it from going this way and stop it from going that way. You know, these are wire, but just for a bit of airflow, I wanted to have an extra option to open it up just a foot or two. I've got some extra strawberries in here. You know, I'm just going to leave them in the pots, I think. They're just in here enjoying themselves. These are the snow white strawberries. They're starting to pull runners off now, but I'm going to take those runners off because I don't want them to put the energy into making baby plants. I want them to put it into the actual plants. My asparagus bed could be better. You know, they were transplanted off my old plot, but I'm not going to harvest them this year. I'm going to leave it for next year, and I'm going to add a few extra clowns in. And I've also got some 2 perennial kales here off the Zorab that I mentioned before. They're looking fantastic, but I put cages over them because something is trying to eat them, so yeah. Right, what else? These are all my pots and my herbs, and I've also got some gooseberries and some spring onions, you know, and every allotment's got one of these areas. You know, you don't know what to do with it, but they will, you know, I am going to put it somewhere. Look at all these fantastic tulips outside the potting shed as well. The colours are amazing. Look at this. Like, that is fantastic. Like, and I can't remember buying that one, so it must have been a rogue bulb. But they're all looking amazing. My canes are ready to go in the greenhouse for my tomatoes next month. And then we have the girls, the chickens. They're enjoying it at the moment. I put a pile of old kale plants in off another plot holder. So they're just they're loving the fact that they're pulling all the weeds apart and eating all the greenery. So yeah, they're wondering now, they've gone a bit camera shy, haven't you? Haven't you, Gladys? Hey? The fruit trees are in blossom. This is the cherry one. We've got some blossom on it, but some of it is blown off. But I've had a look and it does look like we've got some cherries coming, so fingers crossed. The plum tree sadly hasn't had any blossom this year, so I don't think I'm going to have any. I think it's having a year off. You know, they were all transplanted up, and I'm shocked that even 2 of the trees, you know, out of the 3 have blossomed. And I mean, look at this. Absolutely amazing. You know, I might even get some apples on here this year. Yeah, I'm really happy. And like I said, you know, even I get weeds. There's some stingy nettles that need to be dug out there. And I've even noticed down there a little bit of bindweed. So that's, you know, this is a new plot for me. So I need to, you know, learn this plot as well, and I need to mature it myself. You know, like I came on here not knowing what was under the ground. You know, this plot was covered in plastic and rubbish, and I pulled it all up. You know, I've mulched it, I've dug all through this whole bed. I've had this plot since October, September time. And, you know, if you haven't seen my previous videos, go back, you know, you'll see that it was dark, it was wet, it was muddy. Where I'm stood now, this was a forest full of brambles, you know, 8 foot high. So if you've got an allotment, you know, or a garden that's really overgrown, and you're thinking, I'm never, ever going to get to that stage that I'm in now, you can. Anyone can. You know, it is hard work, but I promise you, you can get there. The pond is looking lovely. All the tadpoles now are coming up. You know, there's a few here, and they're getting pretty big now, I must admit. Most of them are hanging around the frog spawn area. You know, they will use that as food as well. The pond plants that I added over here, they're already expanding and growing. So I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased that there's some life in here. And I even, somewhere, I've got a pond skater, you know, like a water boatman. I don't know how he's got in here, but he's in here somewhere, he's dotting around. So it's nice to see that there's wildlife in this pond now. You know, the tadpoles are all hanging around the log, and I'm just can't wait in a month or so's time, you know, to see them all, you know, so confident in this pond, just swimming around. And then I'll have frogs, and I'd love to get some newts in here as well. That I'm sure they're loving this area of hiding underneath here, you know. I'm just so happy. These up here, these are my alliums, so I should have a big flush, a big massive like bulbs, you know, like look like, you know, onion seeds. Going to flower, and they're gonna look absolutely amazing. This area got some extra flowers to go in. I got some bedding plants that I got to put in there. I think I might put some poached eggs here. I've added bulbs all down here. Whether or not the squirrels have, you know, taken them up, but we shall see. I have got some coming through, but you never know. That's the thing with gardening, is you've got to share. You've got to share with the wildlife. You know, they're going to steal it anyway, so whether you share it with them or not, they're having it. So, you know, I can't stay here 24 hours a day hoping that nothing goes wrong in this plot. But every day's a challenge. And if you come on your plot or your garden and go, oh, it looks amazing, you're going to get bored of it. You need those little challenges in life to just push you through. You know, slugs have ate your lettuce. What are you going to do? You're going to fight back through again and try and get some more put in the ground. So, you know, it keeps you on your toes. But look at these buckets now. They're the pride and joy of the plot. And because of the cold weather we've had, my potatoes are in here being sheltered. You know, once the cold snap goes, it's not too bad in the mornings, but there's no point. I got this space free, so you may just keep them in here in the shelter. But they're all coming lovely now. Inside here, all my fruit baskets. These are my extra strawberry plants that I had that I showed you in a previous video. And if you have a look, we've got strawberries coming already. So I'll definitely have an early harvest. Inside here, oh God, where do I start? There's a lot, you know, flowers, sunflowers. So many sunflowers, you know, some will be given as gifts and then some will be put on the plot. My swede have come up, which weirdly, I love the Helena Swede, but they haven't come up yet. But the best of all Swede has. So I might need to sow that one again, because that is my favourite one. I've also got some poached eggs in here. I've got some extra sweet peas that desperately need to go out, but I'm keeping them as a fallback really, just in case those ones outside die. I've got some Welsh onions that need to go out into the herb garden. And then I've also got some extra cabbages and things. Zinnias, oh God. my cucumber plants, you name it. There's some also, these are all my SSP for Steve Digwell Greenfingers challenge. Underneath here, my leeks, and God, some tomato plants, all my marigolds and the onions ready to go out.